but I've also had the opportunity to meet with a number of other people, and I've really enjoyed my visit to Hyderabad. I was here many years ago, and so it's a real pleasure to be back. Hyderabad has really grown enormously since I was here before, and has really turned into a hub of entrepreneurship and technology and innovation. So it's a great opportunity to be back. It's fantastic. This is my first time visiting T-Hub. What an extraordinary opportunity. This is, as I said, Hyderabad is clearly a center for innovation and offering entrepreneurs the opportunity to come here to work with business experts and others to talk about creating business opportunities, to talk about economic growth throughout Telangana and in Andhra Pradesh is incredible. I heard yesterday that investment in Hyderabad has increased 27% in the last year, which I think is extraordinary. But clearly a facility like this and the partnerships that they are building with others in California, around the world, will only continue that. You know, I think the relationship between India and the United States has grown and developed and deepened, and nothing demonstrates that more clearly, in my view, than the Prime Minister's recent visit to Washington, D.C. He had meetings with government officials and others across the broadest sector of our relationship. In his joint statement to Congress, he demonstrated what I think is truly an historic view, move forward on our broader relationship across all sectors. And so I think we are seeing this Modi doctrine that he laid out in that interaction that was so well received in Washington, in the joint houses of Congress and Senate, and across the country, that this relationship really has evolved and continues to grow. Some of the discussions that we had earlier today and that we have had in the course of the last 2 days on climate change, for example, but also in business innovation, again, I think we're seeing such dynamic movement on both sides. There are very dynamic companies in the United States and here in India. Again, this booming growth that we have seen here, right here in Hyderabad, but across the country, and the ability of Indian countries and American Indian and American companies to collaborate and work closely together has been truly impressive. And I think that will only continue to grow because those relationships continue to build. We continue to find through things like T-Hub, areas in which you can bring entrepreneurs together from both countries across every sector and do some really interesting, innovative things and continue to broaden and deepen that relationship and that innovation. So I think it's fantastic. Well, I think that's a really, IPR, intellectual property rights, is a very important conversation, and that certainly is part of the discussion that we have bilaterally. It's very important to American companies. Frankly, it's very important to Indian companies who are innovating as well to ensure that their properties are protected. And so it's an ongoing conversations. There are great challenges, and we look forward to continuing to work with Indian companies and with the government of India to ensure that those properties on both sides are protected. Very clear, the United States has been very clear on its view of India and the nuclear security group. The president has been very, very clear about that. That's an independent body, and those are conversations that are ongoing. It's not for the United States to make a unilateral decision, and so we'll continue to watch and see what happens as this evolves. And Obama was very clear in advance of the United States hoping that the UK remained in the EU. The people of the UK made a decision, they voted. That's democracy. And so I think we will now watch very carefully, as will countries around the world, to see how that actually works itself out, what kind of impact this is. It's a very complicated process from what I understand, and I also understand it's a process which takes about 2 years. And so this is certainly something that we will continue to watch, as I'm sure people around India will as well, to see what actual impact this will have. I am not somebody who predicts the future, and I don't want to start now. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and what sort of effects this will have. I'm not a predictor of the future, but I think we are still committed, and I think our relationship with India is a great example of the importance of of collaboration with other countries. We remain open and ready and waiting to do business. And I think that's important, and that is something that we will continue to do. And then again, as I said, watch closely to see the impact of this recent vote. The numbers, I don't have the numbers right at my fingertips, but I do. I think we were all pleased to see that when Prime Minister Modi was in the United States, that he and President Obama committed to working towards, I believe it was quintupling of trade, and this is something that is in the interest of both of our countries. I consider and believe, as does this administration and President Obama, that it will continue to grow. And that's something that benefits both our countries, and we welcome that. So we will work very hard, as the government of India has committed to as well, to do just that.